Hello again to Active Advice. It is a wonderful, beautiful morning, December 27th, I believe, 2023. Well, I definitely know the year, but the day I might have slipped on. It is the 27th, though. So today I want to talk about taking the leap, taking risks on life, on yourself. It's very scary and very uncertain, but taking risks to me has become an essential part of my development. And what started out as something that helped me become more willing to take part in my life, something that helped me be more brave. It's because I grew up very scared of everything. I grew up scared of judgment, very self critical, scared of being different. I was picked on a lot as a kid and in school and stuff. And even up until recently in my life, being 31 years old, there's a lot of judgment and self-criticism that goes into being out in the world and like trying to be unique, but then trying to blend in and like not trying to be too much. And it's too much noise. I learned around 20 years old with my dear friend Johnny Mocktig how to creatively take risks in these very small endeavors that eventually led me to doing something like this. Doing this has been something I've been wanting to do for 2.5 years, but it's been taking me time. I've said it before in the other videos. But I finally took the leap on it and just cast aside judgment. I think what helps me do that is I'm more scared of fading away into existence and wasting this beautiful life than I am worried about what people truly think of me. That's not to say that I don't think about it, but I'm more worried about living a life of nothingness and doubt and regret than I am, being me. The way that I started doing it was I started doing small things. Growing my mustache, for example. That was something that yielded a lot of critique and opinion. At first, it was like 2019 when I started doing it. Everyone was kind of like, "You're really growing that thing out, huh?" Or my hair growing out. Like it's so funny how people just impose this discomfort on you, and you really can absorb it. But I took the small risk. What does it cost me? Facial hair. It's a small risk. I did one thing slowly and then started to realize, oh, it's actually kind of nice like that I get to create my own identity. And so risks ended up becoming an integral part of who I am. Obviously, there's been times in my life where I've taken risks in other realms of my life that, have damaged me, and maybe even hurt other people emotionally speaking, like in phases of immaturity and inaccountability. Taking risks on people's feelings is not exactly a healthy way to live. And there's definitely ramifications for that. So when I started to pivot the risk taking into this place of how can I do something for myself, not towards anyone else, but a risk for me, like how, like almost it's the leap of faith. If you can take the leap of faith and prove to yourself that you can cross that boundary for yourself, only for you, then you start to slowly expand your confidence into these other realms of life. There's a really great scene from, I believe it's The Dark Knight Rises, the Christopher Nolan Batman, where he's trying to jump from cliff to cliff with a rope on, and he can't make the jump because the rope keeps saving him. And the guy tells him, you have to lose the rope. The risk has to be greater than your safety for you to cross that threshold. And spoiler alert, he does make the jump. But life is really like that. You have to remove the safety nets of the person who you think you are to become the next version of yourself. And I definitely understand that because that's what I'm currently doing right now. I'm doing things like this to connect back to myself, taking the risks. And small risks always lead up to bigger ones. And that could be quitting a job, leaving a relationship. These are hard, difficult things to do. But they don't feel as daunting when you start to make the small risks, pay out. Like when you start to see the payout of a small risk, then the bigger ones start to become this chance you take on yourself. And I don't believe you're ever going to lose out on anything if you're doing something for yourself. And that's taken me a long time up until now to learn. I think you need to enjoy trusting in the process of the universe. And if you don't believe in spirituality or God or things like that, that's totally okay. But in this world, there's timing, there's seasons, there's things that fall into place that we cannot explain. Because there's a timing and a rhythm to this world. And I think part of meditation and self-awareness and self-development is learning how to engage in that timing. Once you slow down your brain and your mind, your inner dialogue, and you start to ask yourself what you're willing to lose, then you have nothing to lose and you're able to take the risks. So if you're right now feeling like, oh, I want to quit, I want to do this, or I want to jump, but know that I feel the same way right now. Like I feel just like you. And doing this is me taking that risk. And it feels good. And even yesterday, I was doubting making another video, jumped right back in. Take the risk. I don't really have time to care what people think of me anymore. It does pass through my mind, but I don't have time for it. And neither do you. Life's too short. I'm going to keep saying that because it truly, truly is. Take the risk. What do you have to really lose? And I think on a final note here, or one of the last notes I'll make is, if you start to develop a support system for yourself of people who think like you and understand your true desires, then taking risks will never harm you. Because, a safety net of identity is the rope jumping from ledge to ledge. You have to kill your identity. But having people who support you is the man telling you to take the rope to make the leap. Watch the movie if you haven't, Dark Knight Rises. But learn how to enjoy trusting in timing. You are in the right place. I'm telling you, you're not in the wrong place. If you're dealing with a bad breakup, a loss of a job, a loss of a family member or a loved one, if you're dealing with addiction, and you're coming into a place of maybe finding something like this, or finding people who are helping you heal through that, you're in the right place. Your darkest parts of your life are meant to be there. Not because you deserve to be in the worst place, but it's just to show you where you are. If you're in a place where you feel like I want to move past this and I don't know how, then it's time for you to take a risk. I understand that. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. I'm in a place right now where I need to do this, even though it's scary. And I'm, worried about how people judge me, but then I'm really not. It comes up, but then every time I involve myself in the risk, the reward is gigantic. Again, any risk you take for yourself will never yield damage to you, ever. It'll always look like it at first because you're removing yourself from something, and that's hard. And that trauma of leaving something behind is always hard. But any risk you take for yourself will never, ever harm you. Ever. Bottom line. For today's note, I'm keeping it short. Any risk that you make for yourself will always yield a great payout for your well-being. So take the leap. Start that business, start that YouTube channel, make that band, start your singing career, go back to school. Like, it's fun once you start. The hardest part is taking the leap. I understand. I'm with you on it. So take it from somebody who's right there with you. It's hard, but take the leap, and the payout for anything that you do for yourself, not others, will always yield great results for your well-being. Also, remember this: any risk you take that you start to learn how to develop and create that, I'm learning how to be, edgy, risky. Like I'm learning how to leave things behind. I'm learning how to take steps. I'm learning how to be myself, be bold, wear those bright colors, go get that haircut. Learning how to do those things it starts to remove you from societal expectations. And once you start removing societal expectations, nothing can harm you, because then you just become a true free spirit. And I truly believe that all of us have that within us in different parts of this spectrum of self-freedom and self-realization. It's a very, very large, infinite spectrum that we all get to live on. But aligning yourself with the things that make you feel unique will always help you feel free and loving of yourself. So if you're ready to love yourself, take the leap. If you're ready to go make more money, leave the other job. If you're ready to go and be creative, then fuck anything that's structured and just tear it apart. Destruction leads to construction. I heard that from the book Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and I love that concept. Once we leave things behind, then all of the building blocks and the fundamentals of the things that are really important from the phases of our life come with us. Everything else gets left behind. So remember, take the risk, just do it. It's crazy. It's cool. It's almost like running into the ocean without a bathing suit. Like, you just look at it and you have that temptation of, fuck, I'd really love to run in. Just go for it. Look out into the world. And when you see something that you want to be a part of in nature or in life, take part in it. You see the water, you want to run into it, dive in. You see a bunch of people hanging out and you want to go talk to them and find out what they're hanging out about and being excited about, go talk to them. You want to climb a mountain in the middle of the day and leave work early, fucking go for it, man. Life is that beautiful and sweet. Taking risks is a part of life. By taking part in life, you're living. Take the risk. I'm going to say it 1 billion times so that way it's ingrained in your mind. It's going to be okay. And you're going to love it and you're going to be excited. So go forth, take the leap.